Being a performative male? Alright, bro.
About controversial streamers, there's almost always one name that comes up
Rise
first.
and fall of Glitter Boy?
Adin Ross is interesting because on one hand, he's top 1% successful. But on the other, this is how the internet describes it.
The Adin Ross is a goddamn idiot.
Scumbag.
Laughing stock of the critical.
Stupid. Racist and misogynistic far-right streamer, Adin Ross.
To start off the interview, I guess the first question we would have.
He interviewed Adin Ross. This is my first time seeing this commentary guy interview the creator that he's talking about. So, damn, bro, that's crazy, dude. Because I've been watching his reaction videos since he was at like 20,000 subs, maybe 15,000. He's about to hit 100,000. He deserves all of his flowers, bro. He's a good commentary guy.
Have for you is, would you say that online you're hated?
I could try doing commentary videos.
Damn.
Adin has built an empire on being the bad guy. Why?
Controversy self.
And he's right, it pays to be the villain.
I don't give a
But when you wear a mask for profit long enough, you eventually forget how to take it off. So what's the most true and authentic version of Adin Ross? Well, I've come to realize that the answer to that question is a bit more complicated than you'd think. To understand Adin Ross, we need to go back to before the controversial rise. Back to when he was just starting to figure out something far more simple. How to get people's attention. Adin grew up in Boca Raton, Florida, at least until his parents' divorce scattered his childhood across the country. One year he was the new kid in New York, the next in California, then eventually back to Florida again.
If I get 50,000 followers on Vine...
But constantly restarting life like that forced Adin to adapt fast. He had to figure out new social dynamics and find new friend groups over and over again. He learned quickly that the easiest way to fit in was to become a mirror, to read the room, make people laugh, and give them exactly the version of him they wanted to see. When you were bouncing around from school to school, do you think that that helped you, like, become the perfect streamer? Like, you figured out how to entertain?
I think, yes. I think being socially uncomfortable, being thrown into the deep end of the pool, you know, it makes you, it really, really does.
You see, Adin started off as a kid who was forced to learn how to fit in, and in the process, he accidentally trained himself for the perfect job. When he started streaming NBA 2K from his bedroom, that same survival instinct from school kicked in. He'd read the chat and adjust his personality in real time to give the viewers exactly what they wanted.
You guys are going crazy with the subs, bro.
And that was the secret weapon that took him from a no-name 2K streamer to the face of Twitch in under a year. Adin saw the ceiling on gaming content and pivoted hard. He quit streaming 2K and rolled out a series called E-Dating that absolutely exploded online. But what made Adin Ross a household name was his streams with rappers. Think of these streams like a late-night talk show. If the host...
Literally, I was talking to Jake and Bake earlier, like, besides Ninja and gaming, the second time I ever came across streamers or streams was, love him or hate him, Adin Ross. Like, his streams with rappers is when I started, like, not tuning into live streams, but I would watch more clips and, like, watch the highlights on YouTube, and I would, like, be more aware of streaming or streamers. But other than, like, Adin Ross at that time, I didn't really know other streamers, bro. So, yeah.
He was 20 years old, totally unprepared and openly flirting with the guests.
How big is your dick?
big enough.
When did he get a stream with Seth Rogen, bro? Like, that's what I mean. Like, he was the first streamer to, like, go super mainstream besides Ninja, I feel like, right? Like, I'm talking mainstream where, like, celebrities, rappers, actors are all coming on as guests. So, like, that's how I found out about him, too.
Into being sus, pushing boundaries, making things awkward, and treating platinum-selling artists like they were his actual friends. It shattered the barrier between Hollywood and social media. The internet ate it up. Adin gained over 2 million followers in April alone.
We love you, Tekka.
He was averaging viewer counts in the 6 figures, and quite literally becoming the future of Twitch. For a brief moment, Adin had it all. He was the face of streaming. He was suddenly friends with the influencers that he once adored. But that level of fame is dangerous, because once you have the attention of millions, you become a target for people who want to buy your influence. Deals that pay insane money, but always come with a catch. Think of it like a button. When you're the face of a platform like Twitch, it's as easy as pushing this button and a few $1 million pop out. The problem is, the people writing these checks usually come from some shady places. It's dirty money. Every time you press that button, you sell a piece of your reputation. You invite the backlash in, and half the world learns to hate you just a little bit more.
The media hates me, bro. The mainstream media hates me, bro.
Most creators keep their distance. They see the money, sure, but they look at the cost and they walk away. And for a while, Adin didn't risk it either, because at that point, Adin was widely known as the edgy, funny guy. When he came onto the scene, he ruffled feathers, but people loved him for it. But that button gets a lot harder to ignore when you grow up with nothing.
People think that like I had it very easy my whole life. We were financially stable, medium class, up until about senior year. It got really hard for us. And you know, I would go literally some nights without eating dinner.
He realized he could make every single one of those problems disappear forever. All he had to do was push the button.
Let's go, come on. Let's go.
The temptation became too irresistible. Adin took a massive sponsorship deal with Robertson, one of the earliest online crypto casinos, and suddenly he's gambling live on stream for insane amounts of money. Tens of thousands flying into cartoon slot machines while thousands of viewers watch. The reward was absurd. Leaked messages showed that he was making up to $2 million a month. His lifestyle inflated.
$2 million a month gambling on stream. Wow. Wow. $2 million gambling. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. $2 million gambling, bro. Holy shit, bro. Would you do it, Ed? Ed will press the button. Yo, chat, what should I do, bro? Should I press it or not, bro? Holy shit, bro. So you're telling me if I press that button, all I have to do is gamble and teach my audience to gamble and make my content all about gambling, and every month I can make $2 million in my mid-20s and I'm set for life, but all I have to do is gamble every day? I don't have to think about jokes anymore and being funny. I could just gamble and people will watch. Holy shit, bro.
Overnight, luxury cars, LA mansions, watches that cost annual salaries.
I bought a Lambo before that, which was stupid, but at that time, I'm 19 years old. I want to buy a Lamborghini to show everyone, like, you.
The money was quite literally life-changing. It gave him the ability to support his parents, help his family, give gifts to friends that don't even sound real.
This is not my car.
Swear my life. This is your house for a year locked. You don't have to worry about rent for a year.
Now, there's a dark side of the button, and we're getting to that. But first, we've got something exciting to tell you guys. So, we started this channel a little over a year ago, and genuinely, it was crazy to see how quickly it picked up steam.
Yo, golf carts!
Golf cart!
W golf cart in the chat.
But now, almost every day, we get DMs asking us how we write our scripts, or where. But we've recently partnered with WAP to finally answer or all stuff full sites and all of you scripts.
Hey, golf!
You were like pretty well loved at that point. You were edgy, you were a little sus, but everybody seemed to like you a lot. Towards the end of 2021, things kind of seemed to shift.
The first thing that we're going to talk about today, easily one of the most requested topics, that involves gambling and a YouTuber, spotlighter, stirs.
I had been hearing for a while about how online, unregulated crypto casinos were hiring some of the biggest influencers in the world to promote them, and then would pay them for every fan they got to sign up.
He's willing to do anything to just make money off the back of his fans and then laugh about it.
You started to get some pushback from certain people, and you weren't as well liked in certain circles.
I don't know. Adin Ross, everything he has done is stupid.
He knows what he's doing is f***ed up, but on the other hand, he's unwilling to stop doing it.
I've just never seen this life-changing money in front of me, in front of a table like that. You know what I mean?
I get it. And you're 20.
What was that first point where you started to notice that, and what did that feel like?
The hate gets to me, I'm not gonna lie, because the hate's different now. It's just like, a lot of people watch me, they don't even like me. It's weird.
Honestly, at that point, I was like, as long as my friends and me are having fun, making good content, my community's happy, I didn't really care at that point.
Most creators would panic here. They would apologize, pivot to safe content, and try to win the internet back. But for whatever reason, the backlash did the exact opposite for Adin.
For me, I kind of liked it. I liked kind of being, you know, not liked by the mainstream crowd. You know, I like that a lot, honestly.
Adin, quit now, and I will respect you.
Can't quit now.
Then I think then you're turning your head and making blood money.
This was a defining moment for Adin, because he realized that being the villain paid better than being the hero. So he doubled down. By early 2022, Adin traded in the Robertson deal for a massive partnership with Stake. Stake is a different beast entirely. It's a platform with pockets deep enough to headline F1 teams and Premier League jerseys. So when the pen hit the paper, the financial scale shifted instantly. Suddenly, Adin wasn't making life-changing money anymore. He was making you money. This is where the relationship between Adin and Twitch turned into a dangerous game of cat and mouse. On one side, you have Twitch, owned by
Holy shit, bro. So you're telling me You're telling me that 2 million a month, that was just the beginning, bro. So he went on, once he took on that stake deal, to make more than 2 million a month, bro. Oh my gosh, bro. How much money do these crypto people have, bro? This shit is like endless, bro. That shit is like, it's a very like, it's a oh man. Because on one hand, you're taking, like the guy said, fuck you money, bro. Literally, that's what it sounds like. And then on the other, it's like, okay, you could try to do whatever type of content, but you're not going to be able to compete with that level of money. But that level of money comes with, obviously, shoving gambling down your audience's face. Like, you know.
Amazon, desperate to keep their platform safe for advertisers like Coke and Disney. On the other side, you have their biggest star, screaming at digital slots and continuing to test every rule in the book.
You have to follow policy and follow rules.
Now, Adin was definitely the face of it, but he wasn't alone. Hordes of streamers were jumping on the crypto casino's payroll. The platform effectively tore itself in two. Half the top creators were cashing these massive checks, while the other half were screaming about the ethics of promoting gambling to kids.
How can you feel good about taking money from people like that?
But here was the problem. Nobody was actually breaking the rules. Twitch couldn't punish Adin for something that they allowed. So, they made some changes. They banned unregulated gambling sites entirely. Publicly, they framed it as a moral stance, protecting the kids from the addiction. But if you ask Adin, it wasn't about the morality. It was about the money.
How did that all play out behind the scenes?
So, Pokimane, Hassan, they pushed for stake being banned on Twitch.
Okay.
I was in the gym and I got a text from someone on my team. Just got off the phone with Twitch. They're not banning stake, bro. No work. They banned it 30 minutes later. So they banned stake. Why do they ban stake? They banned stake because stake didn't want to cut Twitch in on a check. What does Twitch do? They go to NFL, they do a DraftKings deal worth billions of dollars. So if you go look at Twitch right now, you can gamble on Twitch. They didn't ban gambling. There's a misconception they banned gambling. No, they banned casinos where they can't make money off of. They are currently monetizing off gambling right now.
Twitch cut off Adin's gravy train, so he had...
That's crazy, bro. I didn't even know that. So Twitch tried to make it sound like they were doing the right morale thing, but Twitch was simply making a business decision. Yo, Twitch, yo, shout out to Twitch. Thank you for the 100 gifted, okay? Thank you guys. Because of you guys, I can now fund content for the next week, bro. Thank you guys, Twitch. I love you guys, Twitch. Thank you, Twitch. Appreciate the 100 gifted today.
Had to pivot, but he didn't go back to gaming, and he wasn't all that into the rapper streams either. So he reached out to the one guest that nobody else dared to touch.
I see you all over everywhere. You're like the #1 person right now. You know, no dick suck. Like, bro, like.
Yeah, I've conquered the internet. The internet is mine, all of it. I took it all.
In the span of a single summer, Andrew Tate had gone from total obscurity to being the most viral person on Earth. And Adin's first stream with him went absolutely ballistic. It averaged over 100,000 viewers and peaked at 266,118. This was the biggest stream that he had ever done, bigger than the E-Dates, bigger than the rapper stream.
Bro, I did not know that him and Andrew Tate had that many live viewers, bro. What? That conversation had over 100,000 live viewers? What?
There was no way Adin wasn't doing another one.
I've been streaming for a very long time. We're about to peak my most viewers.
I didn't even know they, like, maybe I've seen a clip or two, but I wasn't even aware of this live or VOD or whatever. That's insane. That's a lot of viewers, bro.
But there was a massive elephant in the room. Andrew Tate was one of the most, if not the most, controversial person on the planet at the time. And because of that, he was systematically erased from the modern internet. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, they all blacklisted him. However, Adin once again saw a loophole. Tate didn't have a Twitch account, so technically there was nothing to ban. And no one had explicitly written a rule saying you couldn't talk to him on stream, so while the rest of the world was deplatforming Tate, Adin rolled out the red carpet.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, do you hear me?
For the rest of the year, he milked that loophole for everything it was worth, even flying across the world to stream with Tate IRL.
I'm top G too. No, you're not.
But in January of 2023, the cat finally caught the mouse. Twitch had seen enough and slapped Adin with his 7th ban from the platform, a massive 30-day suspension from streaming. To the executives, it was a disciplinary timeout, a warning shot to force their unruly star back into line. But for Adin, sitting in silence for a month, locked out of his empire, it didn't feel like a lesson. It felt like an attack. It radicalized him. He realized that Twitch wasn't just enforcing rules, they were rewriting them, and in doing so, they were trying to take away his button forever. Adin was done playing games. He was done with the censorship, and luckily for him, there was something being built behind the scenes. You see, when Twitch banned the major gambling sites, they really pissed off the founders of Adin's old sponsor, Stake.
Eddie, the CEO of Stake and Kick, he says, all right, you know what? Yeah, let's boss up. Makes a streaming platform.
Eddie Craven, who happens to be the youngest billionaire in Australia, decided to step into the ring with Twitch. He wrote out Kick. Kick positioned itself as the antidote to everything wrong with the streaming industry. It prioritized creators over corporate advertisers. It promised total creative freedom, stripping away the strict guidelines that had suffocated streamers for years. But a platform with no users is useless. They needed someone big enough to drive real traffic to the site.
My original deal before I got banned on Twitch, which I think was like, what, 2 weeks after I came to Kick? Something like that.
It was
like
close.
A month. I was supposed to go on Twitch, obviously funnel from Twitch to Kick. Twitch didn't like that. It was a big no-no. They took me out, and that was it.
After the 30-day suspension cleared, Adin began dual streaming. He would go live on Twitch, talk to his 7 million followers, and tell them to migrate over to Kick for the real content. But he knew he needed a hook. He needed to show them that Kick was different. So he went on this absurd marketing campaign to test every limit he could imagine.
Recently, there's been this unholy floodgate, like a dam that's broken in the mind of Adin Ross's brain, that's led to him making the worst decisions imaginable over the last couple months.
What the is going on?
He pulled up Pornhub live on stream. He tweeted things he knew would incinerate his reputation in the mainstream, including the infamous two genders tweet.
It did kind of seem like for a minute you leaned into the villain role. Do you think that's a fair and accurate assumption?
I do. I remember this like it was yesterday. I went over to Kick.
Bro, looking up that inappropriate website on stream is crazy, bro. He's wilding, bro.
I made a tweet and I said that there are two genders. A lot of people hated me for that. A lot of people are mad for that. And the entire world really went at me for that.
But Adin wasn't stupid. He knew exactly what he was doing.
I had to kind of say and do some crazy to make Kick pop. I literally might have 2 people in this room this week on stream. Suck my fucking nuts! Ah! Stop it!
Twitter, you guys are the reason why the internet is soft.
Stop!
He was proving a point. On Kick, you can't be canceled.
There's no terms of service over there. You guys can say whatever you want on my chat. Nobody can get banned.
But on Twitch, you definitely can.
This is cancel culture. I'm gonna cancel culture.
I'm Adin Ross, and Adin Ross is gonna say what the f he says.
In late February 2023, amidst the chaos of his marketing rampage, Twitch had seen enough. They issued his 8th ban. This time, it was permanent.
A lot of the people on the Kick side of things loved it. And they kept, endorsing it a little bit. Like, oh, yeah, you got it. We love it. Controversy sells.
Yeah, he got banned 8 times,
and Kick is very successful because of that, so.
The bridge was burned, but Adin was standing on the other side, holding the match and laughing. He had successfully migrated his audience. Kick's user base exploded, growing over 400% in months, largely off the back of Adin's controversy. By mid-2023, Adin Ross had achieved something that is statistically impossible in the influencer economy. He had been banned, deplatformed, and labeled a public enemy, and yet, he was bigger than ever.
Too far? I don't give a cancel me, I don't give a
In any other story, this is the part where the creator gets humble. They apologize. They try to rebrand to save their career.
Did you feel like that backlash was, deserved?
No, I don't. I think that the things I say and the things I do is what 90-something% of the streamers and the online people say off camera and do off camera.
He realized that on Kick, there were no referees. He had equity, he had a contract, and most importantly, he had an audience that followed him because of the chaos, not in spite of it. He was technically uncancelable. So instead of pivoting to safety, he started treating real life like a side quest. He launched a boxing promotion company cleverly named Brand Risk. He saw the massive numbers in influencer fighting and decided he wanted to own his own league.
Netflix most valuable promotions, Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson mega event, makes history with over 108 million live global viewers.
This was his crack at trying to build a billion-dollar business that could outlast his streaming career.
I launched a brand. My Brand Risk brand.
He revamped the rapper streams at the highest of levels, bringing on names like 21 Savage and Playboy Cardi. He pulled off the biggest stream of his life, an interview with Donald Trump that peaked at over 580,000 viewers. He was untouchable. But when you beat the game at 22 years old, you run into a new problem. It's not cancellation, it's boredom.
I couldn't realize it, but when...
Bro, that's so crazy, bro. He was 22 during all of this. At 22 years old, he touched that much level of fame, money, success, or whatever you want to call it, That, honestly, I feel like touching that level of success, whether you want to call it success or not, at that young of an age, is 100% a double-edged sword. Like, because I think when you get that level of wealth that fast and young, like, sometimes it could be too much at once. Like, you could 100% fall into a bunch of bad rabbit holes or scenarios or situations because, like, you're still very immature, I feel like, you know? And I've met even people in their late 20s that are super immature, you know? So I can't even imagine if they touch that level of, like, fuck you money. And when you touch that level of fuck you money, you have access to everything and anything. And, you know, that's when, like, things can get really tricky and bad, you know? Especially if you are someone that, you know, might have a big ego, or no one can check you, or, you know, I always hear this phrase, like, you know, having a lot of money amplifies, like, what type of person you really are. You know what I mean?
I was grinding. That was like the peak feeling of me when I was accomplishing all this stuff. I got this and I got that and I did that and I did this. And I just feel like I've kind of already conquered a lot of the things, like at a really young age.
Sure. And what does it feel like to conquer things at a young age?
I don't know. I honestly, man, it's fucked up, because honestly, like, that's what drives me crazy sometimes. Like, what do I do now?
This explains the erratic behavior we saw throughout 2024. This cycle wasn't about him trying to change and failing, it was about him trying to feel something. He would announce that he was retiring, then come back a week later. He would say he's moving back to Miami to find his roots, then fly back to LA. He would swear off gambling, claim that he was done with the toxicity, only to sign a new deal with Stake or Rainbet just months later. To the audience, it looked like a struggle for his soul, but to Adin, it was just content.
Every time I have trauma, I put it in my back of my brain. I'm very desensitized. My brain is very desensitized.
That's what I'm saying, bro. When you get to this level of fame and money and influence, you're gonna become very jaded and desensitized, bro. Like, it's just, life is on too much of an easy mode at a young of an age where there wasn't enough years and years of, like, actual, like, struggle. Not to say that they didn't have to grind to get to where they are at. Like, he still had to grind to obviously get to this level of whatever. But, like, at that young of an age where, you know, some person, they might take 30, 40, 50 years of living on this earth to touch a million or a couple millions, you know, if they even get to that, right? To do that at 22 and touch, like, hundreds of millions, bro, what? Like, that's insane, bro, you know? That's why when I see, you know, yeah, like someone like Speed, you know, he's even younger. So when I see someone that young, I feel like still carry himself. Like, yeah, he had a bad arc in the beginning where he might have came off very immature or irresponsible. I feel like he still shows growth, right? And now he's like top dog, like biggest streamer in the world, him and Kai. Like, I feel like he carries himself very maturely, and like, it's just different, bro. And not a lot of times can people do that, touching success at that young of an age. So, you know, kudos to Speed, you know, for being able to have or carry himself with the humility that he does at that young of an age, bro. Because how many 18, 19, 20-year-olds can we say can carry themselves like that and go to different cultures and show respect to people and have money to whatever they want, but not act like a dickhead? You know what I mean? Right? Like, would some people not act snobby and start acting all cocky and shit? But I don't think I've seen that from him, the way he carries himself, right? So that to me is like, you know, he's younger than me, but I respect that, right? Because I feel like a lot of times people do become desensitized touching that level of success that young. And it shows that, like, I feel like he hasn't gotten to that, right? So yeah, respect. And also, like, I think one thing that's interesting here is, like, Adin is coming out being like, you know, I've touched everything, like, and it seems like he's lost, right? Like, because Adin has, like, touched this level of success and money, so there's no more motivation because he was grinding to get to these goals and checkpoints and check marks, but he's done it all or did it all. So it's like, you know, that's why, like, I give kudos to someone like Kai, because, like, for someone that's touched that level of success, it seems like he's still striving to keep on going and outdo himself and innovate himself and do bigger things. And that's why even on his birthday, he came out and was like, oh, I'm going through mental stuff like that, you know, like trying to find new goals, it seemed like, or checkpoints or whatever the fuck. And then, you know, some people on the internet had some shit to say about that. You know, I get it. It's a rich guy complaining, boohoo. But like, I could see where like Kai is coming from. But at least he's striving to keep on doing something bigger. Where, no offense, someone like Adin, he got very complacent and like checked out and got very desensitized to the success. You know. Anyways,
pushed the button so many times that the lights didn't look as bright anymore.
It's super hard for me to sometimes feel things. I don't know. It's almost like I'm emotionless. Like I feel like I beat the game.
And that's a dangerous place to be, because when the normal flow is off, you have to raise the stakes just to feel the pulse.
You said that a lot of people can't hate you online because they don't know the real you. And at the time, you definitely said that you were leaning into the villain role. Have you pulled back from that villain character? And are you no?
Nah,
so,
I love being the villain.
So what's the most true and authentic version of Adin Ross?
I think the fact that I would do a stream with 6ix9ine if he calls me up tomorrow. I think the fact that I would do a stream with anybody. I would do a stream with Jeffrey Epstein if he was still alive. Just a question. I'll do a stream with Diddy. No, I'm not joking. People that genuinely have been completely stripped from platforms and affected in their real life, they deserve some chance of speaking. They deserve some way of talking. That's where it needs to head. I don't have to like you, but I think everyone deserves their voice. And that's my whole stance on that.
As of today, the machine is still running. Adin Ross proved that you can build an empire on controversy.
So Adin just made a point that regardless of who they are, he would still do a stream with them. I think if I were him, I get his point where he like those type of people aren't off limits, but it would be different, bro. Like if I was Adin, my mind frame, if I was in his I don't give a fuck mentality, would be like, come on, bro. Like, let's be real, bro. The amount of bad shit people like Diddy and Jeffrey Epstein did, there's just too much bad shit that they did where I disagree with Adin. Like, yeah, they can have a voice, but doesn't mean a voice where like we should be empathizing with those people. No, bro. I think like Adin is like, maybe he didn't say that part, or maybe he genuinely sees it differently where like they deserve a voice too. I don't know what he meant by that, but I don't think they deserve a positive light. Like I agree. Like those people, if they were on content, they should be questioned. Why did you do these things? And they should get asked the uncomfortable question in front of an audience. Like, stop being a bitch. Own up to what you did as a person. What you did these things. There's literally proof. Like now that you on blast, like now you're getting all shy. Like if it was content like that, cool. But like if it were to be content where like, oh, you should vouch for yourself. Like, so these people are saying you did this with these people. You know, that's not true, right? You're a good person, right? Like, okay, I disagree. Come on, bro. There's too much bad shit, right? Anyways.
He proved that if you bring enough eyes and enough money, the rules don't apply to you. But the victory looks a lot like a trap. He's admitted openly that he feels like a puppet, a slave to the entertainment. He feeds the chat the chaos they crave because he's terrified that if he stops, the screen goes black.
It's like people know me when they see me, but they don't know me. People just will look at me as like I'm like this puppet, this entertainment puppet. Whatever you guys want, bro. I'll do GTRP. I don't care. I'm a slave to you guys, bro. What do you guys want, bro? I'm a slave. I don't care, bro. I'm a puppet.
Whether you love him or you hate him, it's hard to deny that Adin Ross changed streaming forever. He shattered the corporate safety of Twitch and ushered in a new era of raw, unfiltered, and often dangerous content. He built a button that prints money. But the thing about the button is once you start pressing it, it's almost impossible to stop. If you made it this far in the video, I just wanted to say thanks for watching. At the time of recording this, we're at 95,580 subscribers, and we're trying to hit 100K by the end of the year. So, if you wanted to subscribe, that'd be awesome. Also, I did want to mention that the full uncut interview with Adin is like 45 minutes long, and we're uploading it into our WAP. So, if you wanted to check...
Hey, great video from Golf Cart as always. Hey, in the future, the goal is I get a commentary video from Golf Cart. That would be amazing. Okay.